acceptable, for her to make that transition. Although I'm kind of tired of Caitlyn Jenner. Like they had a
Yes.
survey in Seattle on the radio, like who's the most annoying person this year, and I think number one was Caitlyn Jenner. I mean, it's like okay, it's great, but it's like no, the TV show and all the paparazzi pics, and we've got people getting killed in Paris, we have people killed in San Bernardino, we've got an important election. I mean, we've got all these things that face us. We have poverty. I mean, so at some point you have to say that's great, but we have things to concentrate on, and we embrace the diversity, and whether it's by nature of your gender or gender orientation or your race or your religion or anything. That's what we're all about.
Dwane, give me your take on her, Bruce Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner, now known as Caitlyn Jenner. Doing this at 65. Do you have any issues with this?
I don't have any. He or she can be whatever he wants. I really, really don't care. I was taken aback by the fact that he won Woman of the Year. I mean, I think there are Iraq female Iraq veterans with legs blown off and doing women doing heroic things.
I can think of a few women lawyers.
Maybe it was Steve Harvey that made that call.
And I just again, I'm over it. I really have no feeling one way or another. I really don't care. He can be whoever he wants to be, but they just made because he was a big deal when he was Bruce Jenner when he won
in
the decathlon.
1976.
Yeah, he was, and I think that's the only reason that anybody even noticed now. But I don't understand why they're making such a big deal out of it.
I will say, and I'll get to that in 1 second. It's positive for the youth that are going through this situation because I don't think anybody wakes up and says, you know what, I want to be a man or a woman today. I think they're born with that from everything I read and everything I see. So from the standpoint of the people that take their lives, Alex Sanchez, let me ask you, what's your take on the whole epidemic of this and your take on Caitlyn Jenner?
I think he's another guy that would have problems if he decided to go to Wyoming.
It would be a little tough on him.
Wyoming tonight,
let me tell you something. I'm a great believer in freedom, and if Bruce Jenner wants to go, and he's got the money, and I'm not paying for it, and he wants to go and do all kinds of weird stuff or strange stuff to his body, go ahead. I don't have to like it. Quite frankly, maybe I'm old-fashioned, and it does make me feel a little bit uncomfortable because it's not something I'm used to. This is new and different, but I think he should be allowed to do it, and I don't think that he should be discriminated, or other people that are transsexuals should be discriminated against. But I think that in my heart, I am a little leery of this new concept of people engaging in this sexual transformation. It's not something that comes to me easy. But on the other hand, I'm a great believer in the Constitution of the United States. And if you want to do something and you're not hurting somebody else and you're paying for it, you have a right to live your life the way you want to live it, as long as you are respectful to other people. And that's my sentiment on Bruce Jenner.
Caitlyn,
yes.
Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner, right. I stand corrected.
Josh Duger made a lot of noise this year. Let's listen to this clip and talk on the other side. Josh
15
Duger.
successful seasons for the Duggar family's reality show, 19 kids and counting. But the secret is out. Josh Duggar, now 27 and the oldest of the children on the TLC show, had sexually abused several girls when he was a teenager. and his parents didn't report it for some time. In Touch magazine broke the story.
There's a total of 5 victims, and the ages, if you do the math, the ages range probably between 5 and 12 years old.
In Touch magazine obtained the 2006 police report. The magazine reports that Josh Duggar was investigated for multiple sex offenses, including some that were felonies. In Touch found that Jim Bob Duggar, Josh's father, told police he was made aware of it in 2002, when a girl complained Josh, then 14, had been touching her breasts and genitals while she slept. Instead of alerting authorities, though, the magazine says Jim Bob told police Josh had been disciplined. Then it reportedly happened again in 2003. In a statement released Thursday, Josh Duggar said, 12 years ago, as a young teenager, I acted inexcusably, for which I am extremely sorry and deeply regret. I hurt others, including my family and close friends. What Josh Duggar's statement doesn't say is that his parents didn't tell police about what had happened until 1 year after their son had confessed to them. 1 year. And even then, they reportedly alerted an Arkansas state trooper who was also a family friend. That trooper didn't take any official police action. Instead, the magazine says Trooper Joseph Hutchins gave Josh a very stern talk. Hutchins, by the way, is now serving 56 years in prison for child pornography. Police only started investigating in 2006 after an anonymous letter to the Oprah Winfrey Show, warning producers if the Duggars appear on Oprah, she would be embarrassed. Oprah's team called the child abuse hotline, and police started asking questions. In Touch reports one of the victims told police in 2006 that Josh had told mother and dad what had happened and asked for forgiveness. All of this has fans of the family's hit show reeling. The Duggars are devout Christians. Josh Duggar also worked as the executive director of FRC Action, the lobbying arm of the Family Research Council, a group known for advocating against the rights of the LGBT community. It also has said gays pose a danger to children. Josh also backed his mother's work opposing an ordinance designed to protect transgender people in Arkansas. Michelle Duggar compared transgenders to child predators.
And here her son,
All right, Dwane, Kate, let me start with you. What do you make of the Josh Duggar scandal? Duggar, whatever it's called.
Well, it's crazy that he's famous enough that everybody's talking about it. Number one, and it's just one of those deals. I mean, these things happen all the time where parents and people cover things up, and the law enforcement officer probably is a mandated reporter that once he got the report, he probably was required to do more than he did. But these
he's
things
in jail right now. That officer, ironically,
for child
on
porn. Yeah.
Right. Oh
so.
And
well, I used to prosecute pedophiles and sex offenders. I mean, there's just no excuse for him. And the fact that he had a famous family, maybe that'll bring some more light on the subject, that people can see this happens in all kinds of families. And it's never acceptable. I mean, he's another one that probably can't go to Wyoming.
Alex, that's your cue.
Before this story came out, I had never even heard of this Duggars and that Duggar show. Never heard of it. Most of the time I'm watching documentaries on TV, and one of my former favorite shows that I don't see anymore, I don't know why it's not on, is America's Favorite and Funniest Animal Videos.
Oh, my.
Right. I find that pretty... But for some reason, they stopped showing that. But anyway, regarding this, I'm one of the few people in this country that actually supports the Duggars in this case. Because
really,
there's some assumption out there that there's some absolutely right and correct way to deal with this very important issue of some type of sexual misconduct within the family, as if the absolute uncontested right way would be to contact the police come in, They take him out of the house. They put him in, I don't know, a prison or do something with him. And, the families are broken up and separated. And I don't know if that's the right way to handle all these type of cases in all situations. The family said they were trying to resolve it. They had multiple discussions amongst each others. He had apparently apologized to the sisters that he had improperly touched. Why can't a family be allowed to resolve this issue on their own? Why do authorities have to be brought in and state investigators? When you start bringing in all these government agencies, sometimes things become worse. They don't become better. And ultimately, the objective is to try to improve the family situation here and to encourage him not to engage in this type of behavior again. And so I'm not so certain that the Duggars did not do the right thing. And so, I'm even though I never heard of these people before, I never saw the show, I'm not plugging them, I'm basically on their side on this case. I'm not necessarily into police intervention in all cases.
That's very interesting.
I don't think we can, and I just don't think we can incarcerate our way out of all our problems. I mean, locking people up is not always the answer. It's not that.
Right, absolutely.
In Maricopa County, it is, but locking people up is not always the answer to every problem.
Yes, Dwane, you said here on the show that you don't believe all pedophiles cannot be cured, or you said something to the effect that
or treated.
all
all sex
offenders.
There's different classes of pedophiles, and actually I had this conversation with, and he said I could use his name, Dr. Ken Wells, who is a psychologist that treats sex offenders, and
really?
They absolutely can be treated. And he said you can cite me and use my name. He goes, because that's something. There's something out there that this myth that all sex offenders can never be cured, and I mean, in Arizona, every sex offense is they put people on lifetime probation. I mean, you got a 17-year-old having sex with a 15-year-old, okay, and they put the kid on lifetime probation. They charge him as an adult. They put him on lifetime probation and make him register as a sex offender.
That's out of line.
I mean, and they treat. Again, it's the same thing. They treat every every problem like it's a nail, and the only tool they have is a hammer, and that's what they do. Everybody gets lifetime probation. Everybody gets incarcerated for some period of time.
Well, that's the easy way to resolve these problems, right? If you start
but the
trying
problem
to resolve
is
it in alternative ways, it becomes very costly, and people don't want to pay for that. So why not just build a jail cell and throw them in there and say that's it?
Yeah, but they get out worse.
Interesting. And staying on that subject, let's talk about Jared Fogle and Ann Bremner. You covered this. Wow, you heard the audio on Dr. Phil. What is your take of Jared Fogle and the defense that he came up with, that losing all this weight made him molest over 16 victims?
Well, that was ridiculous, especially because it's disloyal to his employer. I mean, for whom he was a spokesperson, Subway. I mean, he loses all this weight eating Subway, then he turns it back on him, a sword and a shield, and tells him, oh, well, I became a sex offender because I lost all this weight from eating your food. So, I mean, I thought, well, that doesn't work very well in terms of his PR role. But I think it was ridiculous. It's like the Twinkie defense and Dan White with the Moscone murder. I mean, there's always something creative, I guess, that you can try and come up with. But in his case, they had him dead to rights. They had him also with the money issue and the supposed foundation and charity, for kids with his partner, in pedophilia. And there was no way for him to go anywhere but down.
Well, and
totally
the good thing for Subway is he went down quick and silently.
Yes, good point.
That sprung up and then was gone and over, and that's old news.
He got a sweetheart deal, I heard. A lot of people say 15 and a half years is nothing to what California would give. Would you agree with that?
Or Arizona. Oh yeah, Arizona. He'd get a guy